red leather, yellow leather, red leather. Hope you can hear me well. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing my January wrap-up video, all the books I read this January. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't finish all of them, which kind of sucks. I'm still midway through one of them, but I knew that was gonna be a given depending on when I started reading it, that I probably wouldn't finish it by January. So kind of sucks. I gave myself 2 days before January. But anyway, I'm still really happy with what I got through. I've had lots of fun. I feel like majority of this month has been mostly fantasy, but my favorites out of all of them have mostly been the romance books. So without further ado, let's get into this video. We are in a new space right now. I'm currently in my new bedroom because this girl moved house literally 2 days ago. It was lots of fun, very crazy. I'm very crippled. I did not see myself at all this whole week, even picking up the camera and filming something, just because mentally it was a lot to deal with, and also physically I'm very crippled at the moment, but still happy to do this. I just wanted to get it out of the way and then move on into February so that I can start reading all my February books that I'm really excited for. So I started off this month, or should I say year? I started off the year reading The Assassin's Blade. So this was a reread, as well as Throne of Glass. These both were rereads. So I ended up giving Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas 4 stars. And that's higher than the first time I read it, because when I first read it, I kind of just didn't really understand a lot that was going on, because it just felt like, because I found out that it was a prequel, I was like, okay, but am I meant to know, who these people are? Like, I didn't really get a lot of sense at the time when it was my first read, but I reread this and I had a different mindset into it. I was excited to explore the characters that I was listening to, because I remember when I first read it, I actually I listened to it on an audiobook on Audible, and I find that sometimes if you're not in it, you're not in it, you know what I mean? And when I first started, I wasn't in it. So I'm really proud of myself for just re-picking it up and saying, you know what, no, let's get into 2024 with better spirits. And I'm so glad I did, because 4 stars is a fantastic way to start. And I think it is still a really high rated number. So this is a bunch of novellas of the Assassin's Blade in the Throne of Glass series. So it all happens before the Throne of Glass onwards. And so far I have only read the first 2 books still. But I can just read kind of like the blurb to get an idea of this. But the cool part is, this is about Selena Sardothien, and Selena is so cool, but she's also the fan cast. So the fan cast is Josephine Langford, I think that's how you say your name, Josephine Langford, and she is the girl that plays Tessa in all the After movies, and I just, like, I love her, but the way she dresses in all those movies, like, it's not her fault, obviously, like, the production team have dressed her the way she's dressed. I just hate the outfits. So, and obviously it's completely different. Like, she's going to be in a different, like, outfit and everything and all of this, because it's more fantasy and everything. And obviously the theme of this is, like, assassins. So she's definitely in cooler gear and a cooler get up, but it was still kind of like, I was trying so hard not to think about her cringy outfits that she wore in those movies. But anyway, so this, it says in the back, it says, the twist of a knife, the birth of a legend. She is the birth of the legend. Selena Sardothien owes her reputation to Arobin Hamel. He gave her a home at the Assassin's Guild and taught her the skills she needed to survive. Arobin's enemies stretched far and wide, from Ardalan's rooftops and its filthy dens to remove islands and hostile deserts. Selena is duty-bound to hunt them down, but behind her assignments lies a dark truth that will seal her fate and cut her heart in two forever. And I already know this. I don't want to spoil anything, because a lot of people I know that have read the whole Throne of Glass series haven't even read the prequel, like the novellas, because this came out shortly after all the books came out. So yeah, a lot of people have said you don't really need to read it, but I obviously really wanted to, and Obviously the first time I read it, it was a bit tricky for me to understand because I was like, am I meant to know what's going on? Because it just feels like that's the intention. I'm meant to know what's happening right now. When, I mean, it still was like, I honestly feel like it was giving Six of Crows at the same time, like a little theme of Six of Crows. Like she kind of just had to do what she had to do to survive. And she had a really good mindset as well. Her intentions were really good. She was planning to do something really, really, really helpful for the people that are being captured in this novella, well, in the novellas. And she had Sam to help her, and it's really, really cute. And it is a little, I'm not gonna say anything else. It's just like a silent review. That's the vibe. I'm really bad at explaining things. One of my goals this year is to learn how to be more articulate and strengthen my vocabulary, and also just be more confident in how I approach explaining things, because I'm not very confident at it. Anyway, so yeah, that one was a 4 stars. And then I moved on literally the same day. I reread Throne of Glass. I absolutely love this one. It was giving like same excitement, same vibes that I had when I started ACOTAR. I was like, it obviously took a couple of chapters for me to really get into it, and then I was like, fuck, I devoured it. And that's how it felt with this one. But it also feels like at the same time I've read this and I also have forgotten everything. Like, it's so bad. It is so bad. I just need to be a little bit more hyper fixated on this and get more excited. I think the thing that I'm going to cling to is the hope of her communicating and seeing certain people, because there are 2 men in this novel already that I'm just kind of like, like I'm freaking out over. Like, it's exciting. The chapters are fantastically sized, like they're fantastically sized, I reckon. So this is how it starts pretty much. So meet Selena Sadothian, beautiful, deadly, destined for greatness. In the dark, filthy salt mines of Endovia, an 18-year-old girl is serving a life sentence. She is a trained assassin, the best of her kind, but she made a fatal mistake. She got caught. Young Captain Westfall offers her a deal. Her freedom in return for one huge sacrifice. Selena must represent the prince in a toe-to-death tournament, fighting the most gifted thieves and assassins in the land. Live or die. Selena will be free. Win or lose, she is about to discover her true destiny. But will her assassin's heart be melted? I don't want to spoil anything. I love saying that, but I am not the type of person that enjoys any kind of spoil or any kind of spoilage or spoilers. She is just fantastic. It's a whirlwind, and you can picture reading this like as if it's a movie. And I'm excited, hoping one day it will be a TV series or a movie. It'd be so cool. Yeah, so the fact that she's 18 and she's doing all of this is incredible. From my memory, she's 16 or 17. I think she's 17 in the Assassin's Blade Throne of Glass novellas. So I remember very vividly she communicates with this spirit, and the spirit is warning her of something very dark and dangerous that is approaching or happening in their land, and that she must stop the people. She must save the day. She must save the day. Also try my best not to look up like the fan art of the certain monsters and mythical creatures that are in all these books, and they look scary. They look so scary, but it was so fun. I ended up giving this a 4 stars. I think it's the same rating as I gave it the first time I read it. So I really, really loved it, and I can't wait. This whole year is just gonna be, I honestly feel like my good year's wrapped. Like, my most read author is going to be Sarah J. Maas, because I have all of her books on my TBR this year, because I'm doing a reread of the ACOTAR series. I've got the Crescent City series. I've got obviously the Throne of Glass series to get through as well. The next book I read was Daisy Hates the Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. I ended up giving this one a 4.5 stars. This is, I'm pretty sure from my memory, the highest rating book I've given in the Magnolia Parks universe. Obviously, I'll be honest, obviously the writing is 5-star worthy. Like, her lyricism, Jessa is a fantastic writer. I would say the style of writing, all of the writing in general, is so breathtakingly beautiful. However, it's the themes and the toxicity that steers me away from wanting to give it such a high rated thing, because I don't align with that. And it's not, and you don't even have to align with that to still enjoy it. Like, I still enjoyed lots of parts of the story, and I love picturing Jacob Elordi as BJ, and it makes me feel a lot more linked now. So it's good. I've had a big of like I've had a 360 moment in my head, because obviously I started the year off last year reading Magnolia Parks, and then I was completely put off with it. Like, I just felt so angry about the whole situation for her. Like, I felt so bad for Magnolia, like everything that she goes through. I was honestly thinking about unhauling the books, because I had all of them at the time, and I was like, I just don't think I can read it. But something was telling me to give Daisy Hates a go, and I absolutely loved Daisy Hates, because you get to see, it's kind of like all happening at the same time, pretty much. Like, all 4 books, including the 5th one that's almost about to come out, it's all happening at the same time, and different point of views in each book. So in the Magnolia Parks books, you get just Magnolia and BJ's dual point of view each chapter. They have their own chapters. And then in the Daisy Hates books, you get mostly Daisy, Jonah, and Christian. And there's a lot that's going on. It's quite different in the Daisy Hates books. That's why I liked the Daisy Hates books better, including this one, obviously, because it's my highest rated book. I actually really love Julian, and Julian, he is crazy. Like, he's very well known and renowned for his behavior and, you know, his presence where they all live in England. He is a gangster. Essentially, he's a gangster. He is very protective over his younger sister, obviously, because there's so much that has happened to them. And it's a big major spoiler, so I'm not going to say, obviously, because this is the second part of their story. But you can see what's going on at the same time as Magnolia Parks: A Long Way Home. And I actually really loved Magnolia Parks: A Long Way Home. I enjoyed that so much, because there was a major redemption arc. Not condoning cheating in any way, shape or form. There's reasons for everything. So many reasons for everything in that book. And then obviously there's more, because the same conversations that were happening in the other books, they're happening in this book as well, but in their point of view, as in the other person's point of view. It's in their conversations. And it's crazy to see how they really react and what's going on in their brain at the same time. So I think that's really cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love it. You know, it's really cool. I love this. He loves me, he loves me not. He loves me, he loves me not. The next book I read, this one is probably, I'm gonna say this one was my absolute favorite of the month so far. It is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I finally got around to it. I absolutely indulged in this book. I gave it a 5 stars. It's actually still in my brain. I just feel like I'm never going to forget it, because, you know, how can you forget a story about a magical apartment that takes you back 7 years, but you still stay the same age, and a beautiful man who is obsessed with cooking, especially lemon meringue pie, but his own version. With it's just incredible. And I remember reading last year The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and I really loved that one as well. And I was thinking, I remember when I read that book, it was at the same time all of the big booktubers were reading this book, and I was like, I have a feeling this one's going to be top notch. And the reason why I got it was because I was looking on the back of the blurb, and she mentioned a man with kind eyes, a crooked smile, and a recipe for the perfect lemon meringue pie. I was there by then. Like, I literally just took it home with me, and it was incredible. So pretty much we got Clementine. Her nickname is Lemon because you can hear Clementine, lemon, like Clement, like lemon. So E1, which is a weird name, but it's fine. E1 calls her Lemon. E1 is visiting the apartment. It's not all the time, not when it, like, it's not every single time she's there, but sometimes it feels like it. So, and that's the heartbreaking thing too. She's starting to develop a relationship with this guy, E1, who is working in the city, and at the time when she meets him, he's so ambitious and he's got a heart of gold, and he's just starting to work his way up into the cooking industry, being a chef, and he knows Clementine's auntie, who she passed away, the auntie, and the auntie owns that apartment, but in the auntie's will she gave Clementine the apartment to live in or keep. There was a lot of funny moments in the book. Like, I was giggling so much. Like, there's two pigeons that live on the balcony of this apartment, and one of them's called Mother and the other one is called Fucker, Motherfucker, which is really, really funny. And yeah, they share some really brilliant moments. And Clementine came from an arty background, like being an artist, and she's still very good at her art, but she ended up, I'm pretty sure it's publishing or something. I actually can't remember exactly, but she is in a different field of work, and she's too afraid to have any kind of change in her life because she's been brought up by her parents that have no change. They don't like change. I remember that's also mentioned quite a lot, especially like during the end of the book, where she's in her 20s and she's having a crisis where she's like, oh, I don't know I don't know what's happening in my 20s, you know what I mean? A lot's happening. I genuinely do not want to spoil anything else because everything happens in this book for a reason, and I just urge you to read this. This is like my highly recommended book of the month. It was incredible, 5 stars, chef's kiss. Ironic because Ewan is a chef, but it was so brilliant. The next book I read was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second book in the Hunger Games series. It was a reread. I've done a lot of rereads actually in this month, more than any normal reads. I should have read a lot more than actually, but still it's fine. Don't worry. Don't was. Anyway, so Catching Fire. I can't say anything about this book. This is a fantasy / more so dystopian novel. Actually, it's more dystopian than anything. It is it's a brilliant book. It's one of the best, actually. I ended up giving this a 5 stars. I remember reading this in high school. Also, look at the fucking covers. Like, the covers are so random. I'm trying to remember exactly where I got these from. I'm pretty sure I got these from like Kmart or Big W or something when I was younger. But look at the covers, they're so different. Like, I'm sure a lot of people in this world have different covers. I think that's kind of cool. Oh shit, sorry. I think that's kind of cool how she's on here. And she's got the Mockingjay pin, Mockingjay pin again. Well, sorry, that's like the Mockingjay there again. And then obviously in the third book, there's just the Mockingjay feather. And a big major theme in this series is the Mockingjay symbol itself is a sign of rebellion. And there's a lot that has happened prior to the Hunger Games in this setting, in this kind of era. And if you have seen the new movie / read the new book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, you'll kind of get an understanding. And also as well in the movies, they do mention why there is a Hunger Games and the history behind it, because obviously there was a war. There's always going to be a war, but it's in its dystopian era at the same time. There's a lot that happens, and that is why each year they do these awful and disgusting games to rule out 2 victors from every single district, and they fight to the death. But these are kids from the ages 12 to, I'm pretty sure, 17. This is literally just the continuation of the first book. They're literally just trying to survive the capital. The capital is crazy. The capital is like the government, okay? And then I literally read the third book, so I can't give you any more either. This is the third and final book. I just love the quote as well on the back: "If we burn, you burn with us." I ended up giving this one a 4 stars. I loved it. I can't actually say anything else if you have not read it or have not even heard of the series and you want to. I don't want to do that to you, okay? So we'll put that there. The next book I read was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I finally got to it and I'm so glad I did, guys. I gave it a 5 stars. 5 stars. I'm pretty sure so far 1, 2, 3. 3 5 stars out of the 8 books that I read in this month. So where to begin with this one? I was so excited. I actually ended up reading this in a whole day. Pretty sure it was from like lunchtime until before I went to bed. I just read this whole thing. So this is workplace romance, and don't have my glasses on. Jacob has anxiety, really bad social anxiety, and you can see, and this is also dual point of view, which is really, really cute. He works in a field where he's saving lives at the same time, so he's a very empathetic person, okay? Then we have Dr. Brianna. Now, she has gone through a lot of trauma in her past relationship. She was previously married, and now she's obviously divorced. Something terrible happened in the divorce. Not gonna spoil it. So she's already going through that, and she's a beautiful, beautiful lady who's just trying to get by, just trying to enjoy her life, okay? But at the same time, her younger brother is on dialysis, and every single day she's taking care of him. And a lot is happening. He's on dialysis because he is trying to find a compatible kidney because he needs new kidney. He needs a kidney transplant. They're searching and searching. All of a sudden, Jacob finally becomes employed at this new place because he's friends with one of the guys that's higher up in the system, in the job. And they kind of come together and discuss after they've met, after Jacob has met Brianna. It's kind of like an enemies to lovers to start off with, which is really, really cute. Lots is happening. Some of the tropes in here, it's obviously workplace romance, enemies to lovers, fake dating. I just think that's really cute. So there's a little bit of fake dating. Yeah, there's a lot that's going on. And even just to like, if you haven't read this yet, I'm just gonna warn you, there are parts where you might end up crying a little bit or getting a little bit upset. Yeah, but it's still fantastic. If you have anyone or know anyone, or if you also suffer from social anxiety or have had to deal with kidney issues or any kind of health issues that you feel align with this book, just please check the trigger warnings. I'm not saying that this is a book that you should steer away from. I just genuinely think you do need to just check. I wasn't actually triggered, which was a first. I was relating to Jacob so much. I was like, wow, I finally found a protagonist in a book that I completely relate to and align to. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so we'll just rule that part out of it. But I found that I was just genuinely understanding how his mind works and how he copes with things and how he reacts to things and deals with everything, you know? It is a beautiful romance. You have to read it, okay? This was also a 5 stars. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. It was brilliant. And lastly, the last book I read this month, well, the last book I finished because I have been reading another one. So the last book I finished was Reckless by Elsie Silver. This one has a very special place in my heart because I very much also relate to Tink, who is Winter. I was gonna say, is this dirty? No, it's just the rustic design. I relate to Winter in this book because she's an angry girl. She's a mad woman. She has anger issues. Well, not issues, but she's got a bit of a hot temper. She's hot-headed, okay? And so am I. I feel that on a very deep level. She's dating a Virgo called Theo Silver in this book. It is... the tropes in this book are accidental pregnancy, what else? Country romance, just in general, it's like a country romance. Grumpy Sunshine. Yeah, definitely Grumpy Sunshine. Okay, so firstly, this is the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. I gave this book a 4.75 stars out of 5 because it wasn't something that I was completely, like, I wasn't actually expecting anything like this because it was a lot different to all the other books. But I'm also grateful as well that the 3rd one, Powerless, which is my favorite, that one is also quite different to the other books as well. Still got its country-esque and theme to it, but it's kind of cool as well how, even though this is different, there's a lot of different themes in this book. Theo, which is our lovely bull rider, he comes from Rhett's background, so the same background as the first book, Flawless. And it was so nice to kind of get back into that vibe and swing of things. And it was so funny because as soon as I finished this, like 2 days later, I ended up watching The Longest Ride on Disney Plus. I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus. And I was like, ah! It's literally, it's not literally this book, but it was just giving that book, because obviously he's a bull rider and, you know, it comes with a lot of danger. You have to be very careful with your body anytime you go out there and ride your bull for what, 9 seconds. I'm pretty sure it's 9 or 7 or 7, 8 or 9 seconds. You need to hit that. Every time you're hopping onto a bull, you know that could be the end of your life. Like, it's crazy, so crazy. And I watched that and I was screaming, I scrumped. Winter is the sister of Summer Hamilton. Well, they're both half sisters, and there's a whole background and story to all of that, so you just need to read it all, please. Seriously, if you haven't, it's the best series I've ever read so far. I actually cannot believe it. I've got one more book in the series to finish and then I'm like done, and I'm freaking out over it, so we'll just have to see. But yeah, so this is their love story. It's really, really heartwarming. It really is. I want a Theo Silver. I want one so bad. I need him. They're spicy as well. All the books are spicy. This one is nice and spicy. It's like a delectable amount of spice. There's not too much going on all the time compared to the first 3, especially this second and the third. But yeah, it's just fantastic. So that's all I have to say on it. So that is it, guys. That is all the books that I read this January. Very, very proud of the efforts that I made to get through these 8 books. It was lots of fun. I'm also in the midst of reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, and so far really loving it. I will let you know my rating and everything. It'll be really great. I also have a reading vlog coming for that book, so stay tuned. You will enjoy it. It's lots of fun. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today. Please go and do all those lovely YouTube things. You can give it a like because it really supports my channel. Click that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. All my social medias are linked down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!